I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about Colby Covington explains why he will never, ever consider former roommate Jon Bone Jones as the greatest MMA fighter of all time. In the eyes of many, myself, Jon Bones Jones is the greatest MMA fighter ever. In the strictest sense, Jon Jones has never lost a fight in his career outside of a disqualification. I believe that was a 12-6 elbow is what they called it to Matt Hamill. Don't quote me. Jon Jones is the best light heavyweight we have ever seen, and now Jon Jones is the UFC heavyweight champion. However, his career hasn't been without many controversies. He's had a series of personal issues that have prevented him from stepping inside the cage, and he's also, okay, I'm not going to say that. Colby Covington, as many knows, was roommates with Jon Jones during their days at Iowa Central Community College. In his mind, Jon Bone Jones can't be looked upon as the GOAT, as he's revealed why in that case in a recent interview. That's a opinion base. That's opinion base, okay? Colby Covington said about Jon Jones being the GOAT. That's whoever's opinion that was writing that from ESPN. That, okay, how many times are you serious with that many? Let me say it one more time because I thought I was saying crazy. That's whoever's opinion that was writing that from ESPN that day. That's cool. That's your opinion. But there's probably 20, 30, 40 million people who don't think the opposite. People, oh my goodness, where are we going? People in the Republican Party, what? Respect people that are blue collar, have a clean slate, that aren't breaking the law, doing these violent acts. Oh my goodness. Why? How do we get political? What is Colby Covington talking about? Everybody knows the multiple steroid tests that, oh my goodness, that Jon Jones has failed. So how can you call yourself a clean-cut athlete and the greatest of all time when you cheated on multiple steroid tests and broke many laws? For me, the greatest fighter of all time has to be a good fighter inside and outside of the cage. Okay, Colby Covington doing what Colby Covington should be doing, cutting a good promo, having a good time here, taking another shot at Jon Jones. A few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, Colby Covington was offering to be on Jon Jones' undercard, which was a little bit, it's surprising because now he's saying that he's not the greatest fighter and things like that. He's not a clean-cut fighter and all this, but he did offer, maybe because he just wanted to be in the same press conference with Jon Jones and things like that. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of fun, but Colby Covington a few weeks ago was saying that he wouldn't mind being on the undercard of Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic, and now he's saying, now he's going back to take shots at, it's fun. He's just having fun with Jon Jones. The one thing it's the first time I'm reading this article. I thought I was going to hear Colby Covington name who was his opinion of the greatest fighter of all time. If he's talking about clean cut and all this, never broke a law or never been busted for steroids or drug use or anything like that, I'm just, I shouldn't assume this because I'm an MMA casual, but I would say, another name. I'm not going to say who Colby Covington's favorite fighter or who he considers the greatest fighter of all time. I would say another name in that discussion for the greatest fighter of all time would have to be George St. Pierre. A lot of people would say George St. Pierre is the greatest fighter of all time. Some people would say Khabib Nurmagomedov would be the greatest fighter of all time. My opinion of the greatest fighter of all time, I would have it Jon Jones first and GSP second. The reason why I don't necessarily consider Khabib Nurmagomedov the greatest of all time or Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson the greatest of all time is that at least in the UFC, a lot of the fighters they fought, to say the least, didn't have like the greatest careers. When it comes to Jon Jones and GSP, a lot of the fighters those two fighters fought are clearly going to the Hall of Fame. A lot of the fighters Jon Jones and GSP fought were former champions. They went on to become champions in other organizations. Jon Jones defeated Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader went on to become, he's like the current Bellator heavyweight champion, you know? So that's the reason why I consider Jon Jones the greatest. Jon Jones defeated Hall of Famers like Machida, Rampage, Evans, you know, just great fighters, you know, all along the line. I don't know if Vitor is going to be a Hall of Famer, right? I'm pretty sure Vitor is going to be a Hall of Famer. Shogun, just so many names on Jon Jones' list of fighters that Jon Jones defeated that, you know, went on to become champions and went on to be, you know, basically going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I can't necessarily say the same for Khabib Nurmagomedov. I can't necessarily say the same for Demetrius Johnson. So nothing against those two fighters. They went in and they did exactly what they should have done, basically, you know, went undefeated. But my reason as to why Jon Jones, I consider him the greatest of all time, and GSP right behind him, is because of the fighters they fought are like Hall of Fame level fighters, former champions, and also fighters who went on to become champions. But when they fought Jon Jones or when they fought GSP, they end up losing the belt, you know. Like when you look at Khabib, you know, he fought Dustin Poirier. Poirier hasn't, you know, he lost the title twice. He lost to Khabib and he lost to Charles Oliveira. You look at Justin Gaethje, same thing. Lost to Khabib, lost to Charles Oliveira. You know, so, and, you know, Conor McGregor lost to Dustin Poirier. So even after, you know, Khabib fought some of these fighters, none of them have went on to become champions. You know, few of them are going to go to the Hall of Fame, you know, and things like that. And Demetrius Johnson, I don't think any of Henry Cejudo did become champion, but besides that, you know, the rest of the fighters Demetrius Johnson fought in the UFC, I don't think like any of them are going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think any of them went on to become champions. So nothing, like I said, not trying to bash them. I'm an MMA casual, so, you know, take it for what you want to take it for. The reason why I consider Jon Jones and GSP the greatest fighters of all time are because of their opponents, right? Is because of their opponents, not just their records. It's because of the fighters they defeated. But let me know your opinion of this story. Who do you consider to be the greatest fighter of all time? Colby Covington takes a shot at Jon Jones, doesn't say who he considers to be the greatest fighter of all time. My opinion, it's Jon Jones, and then second would be GSP. But let me know your opinion. Who do you think is the greatest MMA fighter of all time? I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about Colby Chaos Covington, the UFC #1 welterweight contender. We're going to put that out there. Colby Chaos Covington explains why he will never, ever consider Jon Jones as the greatest fighter of all time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.